Hello YouTube, Ken Hao here with another Black Desert Online video for you. And this video is inspired by the fact that one of our community members just started playing Black Desert Online recently, and they had no idea what to do with their contribution points and how to make passive income in BDO. So this is kind of a guide for new players, but this is also a guide to help you figure out how to make passive income in BDO, whether or not you're a new player. I hope this video will be informative and help you figure out how to do these things. So before we start, I want to make a couple of things clear here. First one, of course, is this is my opinion. This is how I recommend that you do it. So if you have a better idea of how to start spending your contribution points and spread it into a huge node empire with your workers to make a huge amount of money passively, feel free to share your opinion and your thoughts down in the comments below. But this is my video. This is how I recommend people do it in the beginning. Thing number two is that this is not going to be an in-detail guide as to what nodes you should get. This is more of a teach a man how to fish kind of video. And what I mean by that is that I will just show you the thought process between getting nodes and how to start, and how you can quickly accumulate contribution points so that you can expand the node empire and make that snowball effect. So the very first step for this guide here is going to be, you have to decide whether or not you're going to want to make an alt character if you don't have one. If you're a new player and you just made your own one character, I would recommend that for the most efficient way to do this, that you create an alt character so you can park the character here in Velia, which is where I am right now. And we'll talk about why you should have a character here as we go through the video. But if you don't, you're going to have to find another way to bring a character here back and forth. And that depending on where you are in the game, how far you are into the game, it might be quite annoying to be coming here every time to take care of business. You're going to start the game somewhere around here. I believe, I don't know, the last character I made started here. It was the Guardian. I don't know what other characters will start the game these days. It used to be in Alvia, but now they probably changed it. Anyways, all right, so once you get to Velia, or once you have enough contribution points, let's go with 10. We'll count as we go along here. But the first things you're going to want to do is to get a house for you and a lodging for one of your workers. So these are pretty good here. I have it as storage, but you can turn this into a house for you. And the size doesn't really matter. All you're going to need this for is to start cooking. All right, and then you can buy the next one over and get a dorm place here, lodging for your worker. All major towns offer you one free lodging for your worker, so you can get one worker without buying any lodging. But for your second worker and beyond that, you're going to need to get lodging. All right, so you're going to spend one contribution point here getting the housing, and you one here for the worker lodging, and this will allow you to get actually 2 worker lodgings here. All right, so once you've gotten those, you're going to need 3 more CP here to get Bartali Farm. You're going to get 2 for the node, you need 2 for the node itself, and then 1 more for the chicken and chicken eggs node here in Bartali Farm. And you're going to do the same thing here for Finto Farm, which also has a chicken and a chicken eggs node. If you have enough contributions and you want to, you can get the potatoes. I would recommend not getting the potatoes in the beginning because they're not going to really help you right away. Originally, the grain here, the potato would have been better for your snowballing than the chicken, but they changed the recipes and now we can just get the ball rolling with the chicken. And the reason why chicken is better even is because not only can you cook things that are going to be immediately useful for you, you can also save the eggs, which will turn into a lot more money later down the road, or you can actually sell the eggs. The eggs are pretty valuable and you can sell for quite a bit. Right now in Korea, the eggs are sitting at 5k silver a pop, and at least in Korea right now, last time I checked, they were sold out in the market. The eggs are sold out and they go for about 5,000 a pop. You can do 2 things with the eggs. You can sell it for instant profit, or if you want, you can save them for later, because you can make quite a bit of money if you turn in recipes that use eggs. So what are you going to do with the chicken though? We talk about the eggs. How about the chicken? Well, the chicken, you're actually going to use the chicken to craft grilled bird meat, which is a recipe that's going to help you in 2 ways. First way is going to help you keep your workers fed, which is of course very important, because for your workers to actually do work, they need to be fed. If you don't feed your workers, they will run out of stamina. Let me just open my worker window here. You can see they have a little bar here, the little orange bar here. That says stamina, and every time they complete work, they lose a little bit. And if you don't feed them like this, I'm using Bia right now, but some of my other characters have the grilled bird meat, which looks like this right here, except that yours will be in English probably, or whatever language you play this in. So this is the grilled bird meat. It's better than the beer. It recovers 3 of your workers' stamina, whereas the beer only recovers 2. And a little while ago I talked about how the potatoes were more useful before, and the reason for that is because you used to use the potatoes to make the beers to keep your workers working. Right, so now you're getting the chicken here and here to feed your workers, and then you're getting also the eggs so that you can make some instant money. And the other way the chicken is going to help you is that every time you cook in BDO, you make these things called byproducts, and I'll show you what they look like here. I have some in my Grana storage. We have these dishes here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 types of byproduct. And what these do is if you right click on them while they are in your inventory, you have the option to click on the NPC, and it will tell you where you can go to turn these into NPCs, and they give you extra bonus things for cooking. Right, so this one gives you some beer, which like I mentioned a little bit ago, you can use to feed your worker. And then this one you use some silver. 3,000 silver per turn in. This gives you a cooking experience. This will give you some milk, which is very important because milk is one of the bottlenecks for cooking. So getting free milk just for cooking is fantastic. And then the last one here is the one that we're really looking for, which is the one that's going to give you a contribution experience. All right, so this is why we're cooking here, is because we can get more contribution points from cooking. So these nodes here are going to allow us to get more and more contribution points by cooking the chicken. That's going to let us feed our workers so that the workers can keep working, and we're going to keep cooking. And it's kind of a cycle here. Plus, we're getting the eggs. All right, so now let's talk about workers. So how do you hire workers? Well, you need to go to the work manager guy, and you can go that by right-clicking on this little icon here. If you click on your NPC finder here, which is a magnifying glass, and then you can right-click, and you start walking there, and you get stuck on some kind of piece of an environment there, and then eventually you get there. All right, so here's the worker manager, and if you talk to him, and you choose the first option, you're going to be able to use energy to hire workers. All right, if I click here, all right, he opens up this panel here. So RNGs is going to grant you a worker, which you can then click here to hire. Again, all this is going to be in English probably for you, or whatever language you're playing this. And there are 3 types of workers that you can get. You can roll the dice for different workers here. Actually, let me do one re-roll. So this is a giant worker. Let's do one more, see if you get the other type. No, we got another giant here. There you go, goblin. So you got three choices for workers here. And the way they work is the goblin is the fastest worker, but he has the least amount of stamina. The human is in the middle, and the giant is the slowest one, but lasts for a while because he got the most stamina. So the way that people usually talk about these is that if you're gonna be at your computer a lot, you get the goblin because you gotta keep feeding it the whole time. You get more loot if you're constantly feeding it. But if you're not going to be at your computer and you're going to be AFK for a while, then people recommend you get the giant. I recommend you get the human. I try to make all my workers human because they're in the middle and they're fast enough and they have enough stamina that they can keep going without feeding. As I mentioned a little ago, you're going to need to use energy. Every time you roll for a worker, you're going to use 5 energy. And that's another reason why it's good to have a alt part here. So they can go, and when the alt recharges its energy, you can come here and try to roll for a new worker. Keep in mind you can only roll if you have lodging available. So since you're going to be getting the 3 lodging here, the 2 lodging, 2 extra slots for worker from this housing here, that means you're going to start with 3 lodging, right? Your free 1 plus 2, and you only really initially you're going to need 2 workers. So you can roll the first 2, get whatever you can just to get going. Don't spend too much time here, and later as you have more energy with your alt, come here and re-roll until you get something that you like. Right, so while you're questing, your workers will go collecting the chickens, and then when you're ready to stop playing for the day, or you're going to work or school or whatever, then you switch to your alt and you go here and you go to your house here and you just leave the computer on cooking, and you can minimize your game to the system tray so that it doesn't use a lot of resources. You can look up how to do that. When you come back from your AFK time, you can go and turn in your byproducts and get more contribution points, and that should allow you to get more nodes and other things. So I wouldn't recommend necessarily that you start expanding with nodes right away, because I think there's a better investment that you can make right away, and that is farming. And by farming, I don't mean farming mobs, I mean farming actually in a farm. In BDO, you can have farms where you can plant things or have animals. So you can go and collect the meat and whatnot. So the way you do it is if you click on your NPC here and you type fence, right, you get a list of NPCs here, and the fence that you're going to want is the 10 contribution fence, which if you right click here on, you cannot get the new moon or old moon, whatever the moon fence is yet, because you're going to be a new player. You need to have master farming to get those, but you want the one in Heidel, which is this guy, the strong fence, I believe it's called in English. but it's worth 10 contribution points. So as soon as you reach 10 contribution points, you go find NPC in Hydaelyn. And then you're going to come over here near Logia Farm, where most people place their farms apparently in BDO. And you can plop your farm there. What I would recommend that you grow on your farm is cows. You can go to the market and buy these things here. And they take 4 slots in your farm. So with the 10, you can get 2 of these down. And then you can grab meat from these, and I believe you might be able to get milk too. Pretty sure you can get milk and meat from these cows. All right, so just go to the market and buy the white ones because they're cheaper, and you're not trying to spend a lot of money here. So start with the cheap ones, and eventually over time, as you harvest them, you're going to be able to improve the quality of them to green and then blue. Milk and milk and meat are good for the same reason eggs are good, because they are always on demand in the market. You can sell for a quick buck, or you can save for later when you get into more serious money making. You can do something that we call imperial cuisine, and you can make recipes that require eggs. You combine eggs, meat, and milk, and they can net you quite a bit of money. Right, so you're gonna use 2 of these per on your farm, and then you're going to get so you have to have 2 slots free, and then you can kind of choose what you want. You might want to grow some carrots so you can keep your horses fed, or some other things. You might want to check in the market to see what vegetables are selling for more, or stuff like that. All right, just the cows are the important part, and the rest you can fill in. But I grow onions and black pepper on my farms because I use those for cooking as well. A lot of recipes call for black pepper, and those only take 1 slot, so you can grow 2 of these cows and 2 black peppers per farm. But every time you get 10 contribution points, I recommend you going to Hydaelyn and get a new farm. You can get up to 10 farms at a time, so they'll allow you to get 10 times 2, that's 20 cows, and 20 of whatever else you decide to plant. All right, so let's recap here. So you have your 2 nodes here collecting chicken and eggs, and then you're gonna sell the eggs maybe, or keep it for later, your choice. And then you're gonna use the chicken to cook in your house, and you're gonna get the byproducts from cooking. You're gonna turn those into more contribution points. They're gonna allow you to get the farms, and with the farms, you're gonna sell the meat and the milk, hopefully, or you can save it for later. Like I said, let's talk about some gear they might need for cooking. All right, let me open the market here. But the first thing they're gonna need for sure is a cooking utensil. So if you go to your tools section here in the market, and you go to cooking and alchemy, and actually let me switch this. Let me just search for cooking. All right, so there are 4 types of cooking utensils in the market. I recommend that you get the 900 one. I don't know what it's called in English, but it's the one that has, if you see the red bar here, it has 900 durability. And in Korea, it's selling for about 500k. If you can afford it, if you're not, just get the little one. If you can't afford either of these, I'm not sure how easy it is to make money in the beginning of the game, but if you go to an innkeeper, which in Valia, I have no idea where it is because I don't live in Valia, but it can't be that far away. Let's go to the innkeep here. It's right down here. Is it down here? There you go. If you talk to the innkeep here, he can also sell you this, but this one only has 100 durability, so you're not gonna be able to cook AFK. This is more like I'm going out for lunch kind of cooking utensil. So as soon as you can, try to buy one of the ones that are 900 durability. The other thing to know about the utensils is that the higher your cooking level, the less durability you're going to use, because there are procs that allow you to cook more for 1 durability use. So also you notice that your utensils will last more longer and longer the higher cooking level is. All right, so keep those in mind. The other thing that you can get are cooking clothes. There are mainly 2 types of cooking clothes, or there's mainly 3 types of cooking clothes. One is the market, the costume here in the cash shop, which is this one here, and this one will give you decrease your cooking time by 1 second, I believe. Let's see here. Yeah, it gives you more experience, and 2 seconds. Sorry, decrease your cooking time for 2 seconds. I don't have this. I never felt the need for it. And the other ones are in the market. You can buy for silver in game. If you go here, let's actually change this again. And you go here on armor. Under the armors, there's a area here that sells in-game costumes, and you can go. And here there are 2 types of costumes. There are the ones that will give you decrease your cooking time, and there are the ones that will give you cooking mastery. If you're not really going to be into cooking too much, just try to get one that will decrease your cooking time once you can afford it. Maybe get a plus 1. If you, that's quite a bit of money, 3 million. But if you can afford it, you decrease your cooking time by 2 seconds, and it will give you 10% cooking experience as well. Right, so those are the things they're going to need for cooking for sure. You're going to need a cooking utensil they're going to put in your house, and you're going to need a costume, where you could get a costume. You don't need it, but you could get a costume which you're going to wear instead of your armor. All right, so let's talk about the farms here. So the thing with farms is, let me open my farm interface here, which is this icon here, which is going to show up once you put your first fence down. Is that you can see there are percentages here. And what these are is the growth rate of your crops. And once you reach 100% or over, you can go to the farm and you can do one or two things. You can breed, which will allow you to get more seeds or more haystacks, which is actually what you want to search for in the market when you're looking to buy the things to grow the cows. Or you can harvest, which will give you the products, whatever vegetable or fruit you're growing, or the meat and I believe the milk from the cows. Right, those are two things you can do, and you can, once you reach 100%, you can go and do either of those. And the other thing that happens with farms is you get these events here, which can be either you need to go and prune, or there are bugs that come up and start to eat your thing. So there are two ways you can handle this. One is you can bring your alt there and hit R, and you can clear these yourself, or you can do the way I do it, which will be using a worker. You can set a worker. This button here is to set a worker to your farm, and if you're paying attention, you remember that you need to get one lodging for each worker. We got one more from this lodging here, right? So we could, when you first farm, you already have the lodging for it here, so you don't have to worry about that. So when you put a farm here, you can go back to the work manager over here, hire another worker, and can send him to the farm. But for your subsequent farms, you're going to want to get more lodging. You can get 2 more work lodgings from your next house over. This is going to cost you 1 more contribution point. And the problem with Valia is that it's going to run out of worker lodgings here unless you're willing to pay some dough on the cash shop. Or you can use this as lodging, and there's got to be housing here somewhere else. So looks like you might want to get your house. Yeah, you get your house somewhere else, maybe here. All right, so they can save this one for lodging. Don't do your housing here. Get your house in some other area. This one is 1 contribution point, so you can use this one, or you can get this one here for your housing. Yeah, get this one because the inn is right here, so it'll be right next to the inn pretty much. All right, so, and there's also should be one over here maybe. Let's see. There's also another one over here that gives you 2 more lodging. This one costs you 3 contribution points though, so you can get 2 more from here for your farms. And once you get these nodes and the farms, and you get your cooking loop going, then you can start looking at other nodes that you can get to start making even more passive income, as you can see here. So I'll show you here. I have a list of all my workers here. I got 46 workers, which is not even that many. People who do this have been doing this for a long time, have a lot more workers, and there's a ridiculous number of nodes in BDO. If you ever looked at this map, you know that, right? So the next step for you as you get more and more contribution points would be to decide which nodes you want to get, and the best way to do that is by looking at market to see what's valuable, or talking to people, or watching other videos on people who actually go through their node selections. Most of the nodes that I have is actually to gather materials for my cooking and to prepare me for alchemy, right? So I have this here, this node here. I'm collecting this wood here, which is ash, right? But I'm only collecting this node really for the spirit leaf, which is for my alchemy. Same thing for my chicken and my grains here, and same thing for most of my nodes. The nodes that I do have for money purposes are the ones that are the easiest to find money-wise, are the excavations, which are all the nodes that will give you traces, and the ones that have this little shovel icon here. There's one here, which is southwest of Valia. Valia is over here, and there's another one here near just west of Hydel, which is also an excavation. All right, so this one is pretty easy to get. There's no reason not to. It's right next to Hydel, and you can get a free worker anyways, or free lodging for the worker in Hydel. So if you don't want to mess with any other nodes in Hydel, you can send them here. Or perhaps better, one of the most famous nodes in the game is the honey node over here, the only honey node in the game, and most people recommend that you get the honey. Even if you're not going to cook, you can sell the honey. Yeah, so excavation nodes are good for money. The honey node is good for money. All right, so that's a thought process for what I would recommend new players to get starting, and thought process in general, even for veteran players to think about. Check the market, get a cooking loop going, and extrapolate from there. As you're going to get more contribution points every day. Especially in the beginning, you're going to see your contribution points skyrocket as you do turn-ins and stuff like that. Now, the other way to get contribution points are daily quests, and there's a video that I made. I'm going to put a card over there with the Drigan daily quests, and Drigan is way south here. Is the southmost town here. If you go straight down from Idle, pretty much. I'll take a little detour here to the southwest. This is this area here. Duvernkrun is the capital of Drigan, and you can get a lot of, in about 10-15 minutes, depending on how fast you can do it, you can get a lot of contribution experience here. So you might want to make another alt and park it here if you can get here. I'm not sure if the dailies will be available right as soon as you make your account, or if you have to go through quests to unlock the dailies. But stop by here, check it, and if they are available to you, you can make another alt and just have it walk here for a while until it gets here, and you can just camp here for a while. All right, so let's talk about some other ways that you can make money here without touching your computer. The most recommended one, the easiest one to get into, is fishing. You can go fishing pretty much any body of water as long as you have a fishing rod, and you can buy them from the market. One of the reasons why I don't necessarily recommend fishing for new players is that to do fishing, you're going to need a lot of inventory slots, and inventory slots can be hard to come by. You get a lot through questing, so eventually you have enough to do AFK fishing. The cool thing about AFK fishing is that you can do with your main character. If you don't want to create an alt, you can get started on there. Just leave a fishing rod in your character's inventory, and then you can, when you're about to go out for the night or for the day or whatever, you can just find a body of water and park there and pull out your fishing rod. Try to do it in the safe zone, because I hear that people in NA and EU will just go around killing people for no reason. So you might get killed if you fish in a non-safe zone. You can get okay money, but it's not going to help with your contribution points. It's not really going to help you progress in the game. So I think it's a kind of a waste of time. You could be cooking. If you're going to leave your computer on overnight anyways, you could be cooking and getting more contribution points and milk and making a lot more money that way. And the other way is processing. People do a lot of processing. The main reason why I don't recommend processing for new players is because you're going to need inventory weight, because you're going to have to put the stuff in your inventory so that you can start processing, and some of the stuff is pretty heavy. You can't do it for too long. You can't process for too long unless you have a lot of weight in your inventory. This character here doesn't have a lot at all, so she couldn't process for too long. So it's more of a lunch break kind of AFK activity as well. And to get inventory weight, you have to spend money in the game. As a new player, you might not be willing to do that kind of stuff yet. And the other thing that you could get from the cash shop is the processing outfit, which is the maid outfit, which is this one here, or the butler outfit for the male characters, I believe. And what this allows you to do is it lets you process using the materials directly from your warehouse, from your storage. You don't have to put your materials in your character's inventory. You can just use it from the storage. But the thing with that is that the results of the processing will still end up in your inventory. So eventually it's going to take a little longer to fill up your limit, your weight limit here. But eventually you're going to stop processing because you're going to max out your weight here. But if you're willing to spend the bucks, go ahead and buy the maid outfit or the butler outfit and buy a lot of inventory weight, and then you can do processing if you don't want to deal with nodes and stuff like that. But again, in the long run, you're going to need the contribution points to get more things. It's actually to process, right? I need something to process, like wood and like you can get wood, you can get metals and other things. So you're going to need the contribution points unless you're going to buy the raw materials from the market and process yourself, which is going to, of course, cut into your profits. All right, so these are the main things I recommend new players to do, the main ways that you can make income in the game passively without really doing much, and how I recommend that you start expanding your contribution points, get the cooking going, and do the Drigan dailies if you are able to as soon as possible, so you can really skyrocket the amount of contribution points you get. And if you have more ideas on how to make passive income here, or if you want to share any other information for new players or veterans on how to make passive income in BDO, feel free to share your thoughts down in the comments. But if you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you want to see more content from me, don't forget to subscribe. I'll be making many more BDO videos for you guys, all right? But for now, that's going to be it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.